When was the last time you heard anyone talk about Honda motorcycles with the energy they used to create? Almost never. And that says everything. There was a time when this name dominated two wheels globally. A small Japanese company that revolutionized an entire industry, putting millions on motorcycles for the first time. Their Super Cub alone sold over 100 million units. For decades, Honda felt like a guarantee in motorcycles. If you wanted reliability and innovation, you bought Honda. The momentum was real, and the brand rode it all the way to global expansion across every continent. But momentum only lasts if the world around you does not change too quickly. Electric technology shifted toward batteries and software. Chinese manufacturers undercut pricing by 40%. The motorcycle division that once drove profits became the company's worst performing segment. The name stayed familiar, but the innovation leadership faded. So today's question is simple. How did Honda rise this fast in motorcycles? And what pushed them into a slow but undeniable downfall? Honda's motorcycle market share has plummeted to just 18% globally in 2024, a staggering drop from their peak 31% dominance. The division that once defined the company posted the worst financial performance in its history, with a catastrophic 67% collapse in profit margins. While Honda struggled, Chinese manufacturers seized control of 45% of global motorcycle production, using Honda's own methods against them. The irony cuts deep. Electric motorcycle startups captured $2.3 billion in investment, while Honda's own electric efforts stalled completely. The company that created the modern motorcycle industry now finds itself trailing behind competitors they once thoroughly dominated. This decline was not a sudden crash, but a slow-motion fall from grace that few saw coming until it was too late. For a brand that once redefined what motorcycles could be, Honda's current position represents more than just market share loss. It signals a fundamental shift in the industry's power dynamics. The turning point came in 2019 when Honda announced they would prioritize automotive electrification over motorcycle innovation. This was not just a minor budget adjustment. It was a seismic shift that redirected 70% of research and development funding toward cars, leaving the motorcycle division starved of development resources. Key motorcycle engineers who had driven decades of innovation were transferred to automotive projects, or, seeing the writing on the wall, left for competitors altogether. Perhaps most telling was the quiet cancellation of Honda's electric motorcycle prototype program after 3 years of development, just as it was approaching production readiness. The void Honda created wasn't empty for long. Chinese manufacturers immediately filled the innovation gap, moving aggressively into markets Honda had effectively abandoned. What made this strategic pivot so damaging wasn't just the resource reallocation, it was the message it sent. Motorcycles were no longer central to Honda's future. An internal memo from that period, later leaked to industry press, revealed the stark reality. While motorcycles remain part of our heritage, the future of transportation will be defined by electric automobiles. With that single sentence, decades of two-wheeled dominance were effectively deprioritized. To understand the magnitude of Honda's decline, we need to revisit its remarkable rise. In 1948, amid the devastation of post-war Japan, Soichiro Honda began with the humblest of operations, attaching surplus military engines to bicycles and creating affordable transportation when the country desperately needed mobility. This was not just entrepreneurship, it was practical problem-solving that would become Honda's hallmark. Within 10 years, Honda had grown from a workshop tinkerer to an industrial innovator. The 1958 launch of the Super Cub revolutionized how the world viewed motorcycles, transforming them from enthusiast machines to practical mass transportation. The genius was not just in the engineering, but in the marketing. Honda's "You Meet the Nicest People on a Honda" campaign single-handedly transformed motorcycle culture in America, making two wheels accessible to everyday people instead of just leather-clad rebels. Throughout the 1960s and the 1970s, Honda's racing victories established unquestionable engineering credibility. They entered Grand Prix racing in 1959, and by 1966 had secured their first world championship. Their six-cylinder RC166 remains one of the most sophisticated racing motorcycles ever built. These were not just trophies, they were public demonstrations of Honda's engineering superiority that translated directly to showroom sales. By the 1980s, Honda controlled over 60% of the global motorcycle market through relentless innovation and reliability. The Gold Wing redefined touring motorcycles. The CB750 created the modern superbike category. The CR series dominated motocross. No segment was beyond Honda's reach or mastery. Soichiro Honda himself established the philosophy that would drive this success. He said, "We only have one future, and it will be made of our dreams if we have the courage to challenge convention." For decades, the company lived this creed, pushing boundaries while competitors merely reacted. Honda's decline did not happen in isolation, but amid a perfect storm of industry disruption. First came Chinese manufacturers who systematically reverse-engineered Honda designs, then perfected low-cost production methods that allowed them to sell nearly identical machines at a fraction of Honda's prices. Companies like Lifan, Zongshen, and later CF Moto did not just copy, they improved. Their manufacturing precision increased while costs decreased. Honda found itself competing against its own designs, produced at price points it could not match. Simultaneously, the electric vehicle revolution captured corporate attention and investment dollars, but primarily for automobiles. While Tesla was redefining cars, motorcycle electrification remained a niche concern until it suddenly was not. Zero Motorcycles and Energica began demonstrating that electric motorcycles could deliver thrilling performance with minimal maintenance. Honda's traditional engineering approach, focused on incremental improvements to internal combustion engines, suddenly seemed outdated as motorcycle startups integrated smartphone connectivity, over-the-air updates, and regenerative braking systems. European premium brands recognized another opportunity. BMW Motorrad and Ducati captured the high-margin luxury motorcycle segments with machines that emphasized technology, exclusivity, and premium experiences. These were not just transportation devices, but lifestyle statements, with profit margins 3 times higher than Honda's mass-market approach. Global economic shifts further eroded Honda's position as developing markets. Once Honda strongholds became battlegrounds. India's Hero MotoCorp, once Honda's partner, became a formidable competitor. Indonesia saw local brand preferences shift toward newer, tech-focused alternatives. Honda's decades-old playbook of reliable, affordable transportation was being challenged from every direction. Cheaper alternatives from below, premium experiences from above, and a technological revolution from the sides. The result was a challenge to what had long been the company's core strength: reliability. Between 2018 and 2020, Honda's leadership made what would prove to be a catastrophic strategic assessment. Motorcycles were declared a mature market requiring minimal investment, while automotive electrification represented the future. This was not just an operational decision, but a fundamental philosophical shift for a company built on 2 wheels. Corporate strategy documents from this period reveal the stark reallocation. Motorcycle division development budgets were cut by 43% in a single fiscal year. Advanced materials research for lightweight frames was shelved entirely. The electric motorcycle development team saw its headcount reduced from 120 engineers to just 17. The talent exodus that followed was predictable but devastating. Engineers who had dedicated careers to advancing motorcycle technology found themselves reassigned or marginalized. Many top innovators left for Tesla, Rivian, and Chinese electric vehicle companies that valued their expertise. The institutional knowledge built over decades began to dissipate, and with it, the company's institutional knowledge. A senior executive's remark at a 2019 shareholder meeting encapsulated the shift. Motorcycles will remain important to Honda's heritage, but automobiles represent our future growth and primary investment focus. This was not just resource allocation, it was a public declaration that motorcycles had been downgraded in Honda's corporate priorities. Perhaps most telling was the cancellation of Project Lightning, Honda's advanced electric motorcycle platform that had been in development for 3 years. Test mules were already achieving 200-mile ranges with fast charging capabilities, potentially industry-leading specifications. The entire program was shuttered with a single executive decision that prioritized electric car development instead. The market response was swift and unforgiving. Motorcycle enthusiasts, always sensitive to authenticity and commitment, immediately noticed the quality decline in new model releases. The 2020 CBR 1000 RRR Fireblade, meant to be Honda's flagship superbike, arrived with less technology than European rivals despite a similar price point. Dealer networks, once Honda's strongest advocates, began reporting unprecedented customer complaints. A 2021 dealer satisfaction survey revealed 68% of Honda motorcycle dealers felt the brand was falling behind competitors in technology and innovation, a stunning reversal for a company that once defined innovation. Chinese brands seized the opening. CF Moto and Benelli gained dramatic market share, with motorcycles offering Honda equivalent quality at 60% of Honda's prices. Their success was not just in developing markets either. By 2022, Chinese manufacturers had secured 12% of the European motorcycle market, territory once considered impenetrable by Japanese brands. Electric motorcycle startups captured the environmentally conscious customers Honda had ignored. Zero Motorcycles reported 300% sales growth between 2019 and 2022, with customer surveys revealing 40% of buyers had previously owned Honda motorcycles, but switched due to Honda's lack of electric options. Electric demand moved around Honda. Perhaps most damaging was the shift in media narrative. Industry publications that had reliably praised Honda for decades began questioning the company's commitment to motorcycle innovation. Influential YouTube channels with millions of viewers produced comparisons showing how Honda's newest models used technology that competitors had introduced years earlier. A 2022 article in Cycle World, once Honda's staunchest supporter, carried the devastating headline, "Has Honda Given Up on Motorcycle Innovation?" The piece detailed how Honda's newest models represented the smallest generational improvements in the company's history, while competitors were making revolutionary changes. The financial impact between 2020 and 2024 tells the story in stark numbers. Honda motorcycle sales plummeted 34% globally, while competitors gained market share. In almost every market, profit margins collapsed from a healthy 12% to just 4% as Honda was forced to compete on price rather than innovation or desirability. Sales had plummeted. The market capitalization specifically attributed to Honda's motorcycle division fell by $8 billion over this 4-year period, as investors recognized the division's diminishing prospects. Most telling was the comparison to historical production. Chinese manufacturers now produce more motorcycles annually than Honda did even during its peak years. The human toll was equally significant. Honda's motorcycle workforce saw a 23% reduction through layoffs and early retirement programs. Factories in Spain and Turkey were closed entirely, while production facilities in Thailand and Indonesia operated at reduced capacity. The contrast with competitors could not be starker. During this same period, BMW Motorrad posted record sales for 4 consecutive years. KTM doubled its market share in premium segments. Even Triumph, once considered niche, expanded global dealer networks while Honda contracted. What makes these statistics particularly painful is that the global motorcycle market actually grew during this period. Honda was losing share in an expanding market. Electric motorcycle registrations increased 300% between 2020 and 2024. Yet Honda captured less than 1% of this growth segment. Perhaps most symbolically, in 2023, CF Moto, a Chinese manufacturer founded in 1989, produced more motorcycles than Honda for the first time, using production methods directly inspired by Honda's own systems. Honda's decline can be distilled into 3 critical mistakes that transformed the industry leader into a follower. First, Honda abandoned innovation leadership for cost-cutting, allowing competitors to surpass their technology. The company that once prided itself on racing on Sunday, selling on Monday, withdrew from premier-class racing development, cutting the pipeline that had delivered technological breakthroughs for decades. While Honda focused on minor refinements to existing platforms, competitors invested in game-changing innovations. Ducati introduced radar-based adaptive cruise control. BMW pioneered emergency call systems. KTM developed off-road traction control that outperformed Honda's systems. Each advancement made Honda's offerings look increasingly outdated. The second fatal mistake was corporate prioritization of cars, which eliminated the motorcycle division's development resources and talent. Honda became a car company that also made motorcycles. Rather than a comprehensive mobility company, this was not just about budgets, but about institutional focus and energy. The contrast with BMW is instructive. BMW Motorrad operates with significant autonomy, allowing motorcycle-specific innovation to flourish. Their successful motorcycle electrification program resulted in the CE04 electric scooter, a vehicle that embodies both technological advancement and distinctive design. Honda's equivalent projects were repeatedly canceled or subordinated to car development. The third mistake was a catastrophic misread of the market. Honda management missed both the electric transition and premium segment growth, doubling down on mid-market internal combustion models just as the market was bifurcating toward either premium experiences or value-focused alternatives. While Honda continued producing reliable but uninspiring mid-market motorcycles, the fastest growth occurred at market extremes: premium machines priced over $15,000 and value options under $4,000. Honda's core $6,000 to $12,000 segments stagnated globally, yet received the bulk of their limited development resources. Chinese manufacturers, meanwhile, weaponized Honda's own quality methods against them. Companies like CF Moto implemented Honda-inspired quality control systems while maintaining significantly lower price points. The student had become the master, using Honda's historical strengths as the very means to displace them. Honda motorcycles still exist today, but they no longer drive industry innovation or cultural conversation. The company that taught the world to ride now follows trends rather than creating them. Their current lineup represents refinement without reinvention, competent machines that inspire respect but rarely passion. This raises a profound question: can a 75-year motorcycle legacy recover from strategic neglect and market abandonment? History offers few examples of brands that recaptured innovation leadership after surrendering it so completely. The broader lesson extends beyond motorcycles to any industry. Innovation leadership requires constant investment, not just past reputation. Honda coasted on its heritage while competitors pedaled harder. The marketplace shows no sentimentality toward former champions. Perhaps most ironic is how thoroughly Honda abandoned the philosophy of its founder. Soichiro Honda once said, "We have to aim for what seems impossible. That's our duty as humans, as men, as a company." Today's Honda motorcycle division seems content with the possible, the incremental, the safe. You can coast on reputation for a while, but eventually someone else starts pedaling harder. In Honda's case, dozens of competitors are now pedaling frantically, while the former champion watches its lead disappear into the distance. Honda sold 100 million Super Cubs by solving problems no one else could. Today's Honda solves no problems that others have not already addressed. Therein lies the difference between a pioneer and a follower, between the Honda that was and the Honda that is. The decline wasn't inevitable. It was a choice, a series of choices that prioritized short-term automotive gains over the motorcycle legacy that built the company. And that's perhaps the most important lesson. Market dominance isn't lost in a moment, but surrendered one decision at a time. Chinese manufacturers control 45%. Honda's share plummeted to 18%, and electric startups captured $2.3 billion. Innovation requires investment, not reputation. The pioneer became the follower. Do you think Honda can reclaim their legacy? Comment below and subscribe. The transportation revolution is just beginning.